The second shift of the CUET had many glitches. The examination at several centres was cancelled once again today by the National Testing Agency just before the scheduled examination without any prior information to students, leaving them in a state of absolute confusion. So there have been technical snags that have left students agitated now for a second day in a row. The National Testing Agency, however, has told NDTV that the exams have been going on smoothly in 95% of the centres. Students, however, have said that there have been last-minute cancellations. The NTA says that students were informed about the postponement well in time, something that the students have clearly refuted. There are reports which suggest that there were over 50,000 students who had to return from testing centres. Now, Testing Agency has said that new slots will be open for candidates who are at a loss. The exam has been rescheduled for a later date, and those who are unhappy with the rescheduling can write to the NTA for another date. However, students continue to allege that the testing agency has not done its job properly. The last minute cancellations, last minute changes have left several students in a lurch. My colleague Akshay Dongre caught up with several students outside the testing centres. Here's what they had to go through.
India's second largest exam, Common University Entrance Test, is being organized across the country. Lakhs of students, in fact, have enrolled for this examination, and this examination started from 14th of July and will continue till 20th of August. This is now the second round of the CUET examination, and in the first round we saw that there were certain glitches that were found at the examination center. Some centers were cancelled, there were changes last minute for the changes in the examination center, because of which many students in fact could not take the examination. They lost the opportunity to take the exam. What students were assuming earlier was that the CUET entrance examination will, in fact, the glitches will be removed, and the National Testing Agency will take into consideration the issues that were faced in the first round of examination. But it seems that no lessons were learned. Right now I am in Palam and at an examination center for Common University Entrance Test. Now, first of all, I have parents with me and the students who have come here for the examination, but the exam center has been cancelled as well. And all of these students who have come from different parts of the city, some even have come from outside Delhi as well, they are facing a lot of issues. And in this monsoon season, you can see the location of this entrance exam center is in a gully in Palam area, and this is the location of the examination center. CUET is an online only exam, so technology, computer, proper connection of internet is required as far as the examination is concerned, but it seems that not enough preparations were done as far as the exam is concerned. We'll try and speak to the parents first. Sir, आप कहाँ से आए हैं?
मैं मेरोली से आया हूँ मैं यहाँ पे, और बिना इन्फॉर्मेशन किए हुए कि सेंटर कैंसिल कर दिया। मैं उतनी दूर से इस बारिश में भीगता हुआ बच्चों को लेके आ रहा हूँ मैं। अब यहाँ आया तो पोस्टर चिपके हुए हैं कि आज कैंसिल हो गए।
So there are posters that the examination center has been cancelled and now it has been rescheduled for 12th of August. Similar kind of scenes were witnessed in the first round of examination as well. Sir, आप भी
जी मैं मुकुंदपुर से आया हूँ। मुकुंदपुर से आया हूँ।
कितना दूर है मुकुंदपुर?
यहाँ से कितना होगा? आज़ादपुर से आगे है।
अच्छा, तो बहुत दूर से काफी समय लगा हुआ आने में। अब यहाँ पर आपको बताया गया था एग्जाम कैंसिल?
नहीं सर,
क्या टाइम टेबल जो
कुछ नहीं बताया। टाइम टेबल जो आज 5 अगस्त की पेपर होने वाली है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं बताया। मैसेज कोई भी नहीं कि यहाँ कैंसिल हो गया चाहे कुछ। हम लोग तो यहाँ आके पता चला है कि मतलब कैंसिल हो गया।
अच्छा, क्या बता रहे हैं?
2000 रुपया गाड़ी करके हम लोग आए यहाँ। अगर कल ही बता दिए होते तो हम लोग ना आते।
अब यहाँ से आने के लिए ओला पकड़ के आना पड़ा है। अब ओला से बुक करके आओ और उसके बाद से कम 800 रुपये ले आपको छोड़ने के लिए, फिर 800-900 रुपये लेगा छोड़ने के लिए। और एक तो इतनी ट्रैफिक है कि सुबह ऑफिस से छुट्टी लेके और 8 बजे घर से आदमी निकला है वो, और फिर अभी इस टाइम में फिर बारिश भी इतनी हो रही है, फिर भीगता हुआ आदमी कैसे जाएगा, कैसे?
बिल्कुल, काफ़ी सारी समस्या है। तो विल ट्राई एंड स्पीक टू सम स्टूडेंट्स एज वेल। बेटा, नाम क्या?
कार्तिक।
कार्तिक, CUET का एग्जाम था, क्या प्रॉब्लम, क्या बताया गया था? कुछ
नहीं बताया था।
और क्या प्रॉब्लम होगी, इससे इनकन्वीनियंस क्या होगा?
लेट हो गया। अब कब एग्ज़ाम होगा, कब रिजल्ट आएगा, काउंसलिंग कब स्टार्ट होगी, तो एडमिशन प्रोसेस में तो फिर देरी हो रही है। तो काफ़ी मतलब एंशियस रहे होंगे आप एग्ज़ाम से पहले, बट अब एग्ज़ाम ही नहीं हो रहा है, थोड़े डिसअपॉइंटेड है? हाँ।
आप लोग भी एग्जाम देने के लिए आए हैं, कैसा लग रहा है? मतलब यहाँ पे एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर ही कैंसिल हो गया है।
मुझे बहुत बुरा लग रहा है क्योंकि इतना मेहनत करने के बाद फिर कैंसिल कर दो तो अच्छा नहीं लगता ना, और फिर बार बार वही चीज़ पढ़ो तो मतलब अच्छा नहीं लगता, इंटरेस्ट नहीं आता उस चीज़ में, तो नहीं अच्छा।
तैयारी पूरी थी आपकी?
पूरी।
आपका नाम?
अंजलि।
अंजलि, क्या मतलब यहाँ पर आए किस तरह से, पेरेंट्स के साथ आए?
हाँ, मैं अपनी मदर के साथ आई हूँ। यहाँ पे मुकुंदपुर से इतना ट्रैफिक था और मेरी तबीयत भी थोड़ी ठीक नहीं थी, मैं फिर भी एग्ज़ाम देने आई और अब यहाँ पता चल रहा है कि एग्ज़ाम कैंसिल हो गया। एक दिन पहले इन्फॉर्म कर देते तो एग्ज़ाम कैंसिल हो रहे हैं तो हम नहीं आते यहाँ पे।
बिल्कुल। We'll try and show you the examination center. This is the condition of exam center that has been selected by the National Testing Agency. It doesn't look like an examination center at all. As far as the technology is concerned, as far as the area is concerned, you can see it seems like a regular building, examination center where the exam was supposed to take place. And here the posters have been put up. There has been a poster put up here that because of technical glitches and logistical reasons, examination center has been cancelled and the exam has been postponed for 12th of August. So this is sort of inconvenience that the students are facing. This is not for the first time that it is happening. It is also not happening just at this examination center. Several students are complaining about the same, that examination center without any prior information has been cancelled, and that is in fact concerning lakhs of students who are taking exam.
All right, so clearly as you can see, students they're affected for a second day in a row. This is chaos that actually hits thousands of students across the country. While the NTA said 95% centers are normal, the big question remains, what about the other 5%? Sudha Acharya, principal of the ITL Public School and the chairperson of the National Progressive Schools Council, joins us. We also have Prateek Arsh, who is an aspirant, somebody who's appearing for these exams, and we have Professor Chandrabhushan Sharma, who is a professor of education at IGNOU, who's also with us. Prateek, I want to begin by asking you, there are several students like yourselves, whose entire future now really depends on this CUET exam. There have been cancellations now for 2 days in a row. Has this impacted you?
Namaskar, Prateek Arsh this side. I would like to say that our batch actually has been like a guinea pig because we are just being constantly exposed to experimentations by the government. You've talked about the 95%, but the question remains, what about the other 5%? We talk about the importance of communication, but what about the communication from the side of the authorities? We are in 12th for 1.5 years and it seems like this loop is not ending. The center allocation changes. I live in Najafgarh and my center was in Noida. That's 1 hour away at the minimum. Then we talk about last minute center changes for some aspirants. I think these are very much heartbreaking and anxiety provoking news for the students. Like, my question is, if not NTA, then who? And if not for these elite government bodies which conducts 3 major UG courses, then who? Who should the students trust? Who will understand the plight of us and the hardships that we are going through in these trying times? I think this is me trying to appeal to the concerned and respected government bodies to take action and to think about the slope that we are ascending on. That can also be very much treacherous.
Prateek, while of course the NTA has said that, there was prior intimation and students were informed well in advance, you're actually saying there was no prior intimation that was given about these last minute cancellations. Did you guys just get to know when you reached the center?
Actually, ma'am, we were there and we were not given, at least the center 5 students were not able to do their biometrics. We were just going round and round in circles from one floor to the other. We were merged with other center students. And then we sat there for 3 hours till 12 p.m., hungry, tired. And finally they tell us the exam has been postponed. You can submit your admit card and it will go to the HQ. That is just a shocking news to all the aspirants.
So you waited for 3 hours before you were even given clarity on whether or not you're going to appear for the exam.
Yeah, and just to add on, we had to wake up way early in advance just to travel to Noida to reach there. That's just
at least you're within Delhi NCR, Prateek. There were so many aspirants who've actually come from far-flung areas, accompanied, by their parents and whatnot. Another aspirant is with us, Sanat Tulli joining us. Sanat, what's your experience been like?
Like मेरा अभी ऐसा experience रहा है कि I have not received my date sheet yet. I don't know when is my exam. And I am just preparing. मतलब मैं ऐसे ही बस prepare कर रहा हूँ. मेरे पास मतलब कुछ information नहीं है कि मेरी क्या dates हैं. And plus जब मेरा पहले exam था, मेरे को रात को literally 9:30 पे message आया and last message was I guess 11:30. Last मतलब रात को 11:30 message आया, my center has been changed and next day मेरा exam cancel. ठीक है. तो मतलब
पहले आपको message आया कि आपका center change हो गया है last minute. एंड नेक्स्ट डे आप जब वो सेंटर पे पहुंचे तो आपको पता चला कि आपका एग्जाम कैंसिल हो गया?
मेरे को पहले पता चल गया था एक्चुअली. तो बट वही है कि अब मैं डेट्स की वेट कर रहा हूँ कि मेरी डेट्स आएंगी. मैं थोड़ा सा प्लानिंग करना चाहता हूँ कि मैं प्रिपेयर कैसे करूँ. एंड ऑल्दो मैं प्रिपेयर कर रहा हूँ बट एक बार डेट्स आ जाती हैं तो वो थोड़ा हो जाता है कि यस थोड़ा सा पता चल जाता है कि व्हेन इज माय एग्जाम एंड हाउ शुड आई गो अबाउट इट. प्लान वगैरह बन जाता है. तो वही पॉइंट है कि अभी तक डेट्स नहीं आई हैं एंड आई हैव मेल्ड NTA आल्सो बट उनका अभी तक कोई रिस्पांस नहीं आया है.
Because NTA has actually said that if you're unhappy with the date or with the examination center, you know, email us and we'll try and adjust it and all of those. So क्या वो system चल रहा है? Prateek, what has your experience been? Have you reached out? Have you tried to reach out to NTA? Have they been responsive?
To me, I feel like they have not been, and at this point, I'm too nervous to just go again because we as students don't have this time to constantly go back and forth with NTA.
No, but have you tried to email them on that?
My friends have tried, but then they also have not gotten any response.
Not got a response. Okay.
Yeah.
And have there been really long lines as well? You know, you were talking about how there were glitches even in the biometrics and you weren't able to enter. So a lot of long lines, etc. as well.
Yeah, the queue was very long, and we had to wait for like half an hour or so. And then again, it's just I feel like the poor management by the
whole
authorities.
thing really has been managed badly from what I gather from what Sanat and you are both saying. Let me get in Miss Sudha Acharya into the conversation. Ma'am, you've heard what two students have had to say. You know, long lines, mismanagement, last minute center changes, now 2 last minute cancellations, students not being informed in advance. I mean, you know, like they're saying they've dealt with enough with the pandemic already, being that, you know, those batches that appeared for board exams in the pandemic, and now the CUET has been sprung upon them. I mean, spare a thought for this batch.
I feel very bad for this batch of 21-22. All experiments have been done with them, and CUET was conceived to relieve them from stress of one high-stake board exam. So a single score, their future is depending. And look at the way how children are being harassed. I have a few more students also who went yesterday to Noida and today also to Noida and came back without appearing in exam. I have 2-3 girls who have messaged me that we traveled 1 hour long, waited there 3 hours, then we were told and no center change, nothing, no prior information. This is wrong. Children have not been given any prior information. She came back today morning again, that long distance she traveled, and again she was told that your exam has been cancelled. So this is really mental harassment and mismanagement from a national testing agency.
Professor Sharma, how are you looking at all of this? You know, even Ms. Sudha Acharya is narrating horror stories. Her students have had quite an ordeal as well.
See, universities have autonomy in admission, in curriculum, in assessment and certification. I am primarily against a centralized system of assessment and admission of students to various institutions of the country. We are 20% of the world population. How would we manage such a massive system? So primarily I am against a centralized system. Second is that you have such a large nation with various climatic conditions across the country. How would you manage that? Third very important thing is that we are thinking and believing that assessment and admission is a technical thing and administrators, bureaucrats can handle it. Assessment and admission is a professional thing which academics understand. So when you hand it over to bureaucrats, they take it as an administrative work and do it that way. And I can tell you
So you're saying we should perhaps look at an organization or an entity that can manage an examination at such a large scale.
It's their job. The universities are autonomous in taking admission. Why should one agency take over all central universities and admit students on their behalf? Read the acts of the university. You're primarily going against the acts of the university. We should not tamper with it. This is nowhere in the world. Every university has its own act and it selects students as per their requirement and their specialization areas. This has been right through the Vedic age when we had the Ved Pathshalas as well. We are preaching that but practicing something which is entirely against it.
Okay, I have to say though that, I have been in touch with the Education Ministry for a comment, and they've said that, the examination process is being carried out smoothly across 95% of the centers, and that students were in fact informed in advance about the postponement, and these were technical glitches. That's the official version that's coming in. I know it's been contradicted.
The issue is not entirely about informing the students. Once we inform our students that tomorrow 10 o'clock I will take your test, my students are high in temper and they lose their sleep. How about it when we tell them at 9:30 that, okay, sorry, we are cancelling? We never cancel. We understand what's the importance of an exam. This happened with your board exams as well, and we were very much against it.
What about the whole rescheduling bit? I mean, now that these two exams have been cancelled, I think let's just come down to some of the existential questions. Students want to know.
My take on this would be.
Yes, students want to know what about rescheduling.
My take on this would be, whether you reschedule or do whatever, you have to reschedule because you have denied
of course
to the admissions. But somebody must be found responsible, and every student who has been denied admission, the opportunity to write, must be reimbursed double the amount that they had paid as fees, and also the person who is responsible must go out of job. Just because they are government servants, nothing happens to them.
Okay.
Why?
You're saying fix accountability. Professor Sharma, you have a very valid point. You're saying fix accountability. I mean, thousands of students have been left in a lurch, stranded in the rain, long queues. Like Prateek was saying, it was 3 hours before they were actually told that the exam has been cancelled. I mean, that is the level of apathy towards the students. Prateek, if I can come back to you, what about this rescheduling? I mean, now that your exam has been cancelled, you have clarity on when it's been rescheduled for? Have you been able to state a date preference? Or, I mean, I know that there's a pre-decided date that's already been declared in that circular, but can you contest it? I mean, what is the scene with rescheduling?
Basically, they have said that the new exam date is on 12th August.
That's right.
And NTA has given the liberty to again email them. And I don't know if you should thank NTA for doing the bare minimum, but yeah, that's there. And let's see, because our board exams ended on 15th of June. So we should have been free from 12th in June, but we're still going at it. So let's see where it takes us.
This is the other issue, Sudhacharya, isn't it? I mean, you've subjected these kids to a different format of the board exams as far as CBSE is concerned. 2 sets of exams this time from CBSE. Once they've passed the board, I mean, you'd want to just get done with the examination process now that the board exam is over. But now they're being subjected to a fresh ordeal, which is CUET.
Yeah, and one more thing I would highlight, that these children have never appeared in 4-5 subject domains in one day. So Sanat is sitting here, his exam, he got all the 4-5 exam in one day, 2 slots. And he's supposed to get 1 hour extra from CBSE, and he was getting from NTA. So can you imagine 4 hour, 8 hours?
That's just bizarre.
Child has to sit for 4-5 subject domains.
That's
Generally, they appear for one subject one day.
Right.
So nobody has any empathy for children. I feel really bad for my children.
The timetable has been a mess, and now these last-minute cancellations have just made it worse. Samriddhi Virmani, another aspirant, is joining us. Thanks, Samriddhi, for speaking with us on NDTV. What's your experience been like? Was your exam cancelled as well?
Yeah, so I would say that last moment I received no prior email or message from NTA before our exam, and all the way I traveled from Dwarka to Noida, and when I reached the center, there was an announcement that the exam has been postponed. So it was really stressful, and I think a lot of time is wasted as well.
And like I asked this to Prateek and Sanat as well. You have clarity on the rescheduled date. Does the rescheduled date work out for you? Do you have another exam on that date? How is that working out?
Reschedule, I am still like very confused if the rescheduled date is the date on which I have to give, and I'm not really sure about my dates as well. So yeah.
This doesn't work in assessment. This doesn't work in assessment. Once you declare a date, you must stick to it, and you must make all efforts to hold the exam in a manner that convinces my examinees. Once they lose hope and your faith in examination and assessment, everything is lost. And they don't really work after that. Look, they are all adolescents and young boys and girls. They put in their best. But once they lose the faith that, oh, the exam can again be postponed, this exam will never be organized, they don't put in their best. We have been doing it all our lives. Every time we announce a midterm test, students will come and tell us.
I mean, like I said, I mean, we're discussing logistical issues here in terms of long queues and, you know, no prior intimation, last minute cancellation. You know, it was pouring in several parts today. There were these technical glitches that have happened for 2 days in a row. But, you know, one is not even scratching the surface in terms of addressing the elephant in the room, which is the amount of stress and pressure that these kids are under. After what they've already been through in a board year, now after board exams, it is the CUET. No, clearly this is a story we're going to continue to track. I want to wish Prateek, Samriddhi and Sanat all the very best. We know this has been very difficult times for you. I hope you tide over. All the very best to you, and Professor Sharma and Madam Principal, thank you very much for joining us.